All right, so I've never done anything like this before, so hopefully it comes over okay. All right. This has a little bit of terrifying, a slight bit of service at the end, so that's the themes. All right, so when I was young, I was a drug head. I don't know if you know what I mean. I did a lot of drugs. You know, I've gotten older. I'm more mature. But when I was younger, you know, that's what I did. You know, and me and my friends, we go around and that's what we did all day. We went to find our next fix. So, you know, 16 years old, 1996. My friend Robbie, he was the man. He had all the deals. You know, you want a deal, you call him up because he knew where to get the best prices. One day, he calls me up. He says, "You know, Josh, you know, there's this guy I know. He's selling so much pot for a certain amount of price." And I was like, "Really? Sounds really good." He says, "Where do we have to go meet him?" He said, "Oh, over at the Ranger Inn." Well, I grew up in Bangor, Maine. There's this place called the Ranger Inn. It's really kind of notorious for being sleazy and dirty, and it's not really well kept at all. So I said, "Yeah, sounds like a good idea." So we took a drive over there, and Robbie, you know, he's a really big Tupac fan. This is the 90s, and you know, he's cranking, you know, pour a little liquor or something like that, and we're driving, banging our heads, thinking we're cool. We go up in this place, and I see the sign Ranger Inn. I was like, "Oh yes, we're here." You know, anybody else goes to this Ranger Inn, they're like, "Man, I can't believe I'm stepping foot in this." But for me, you know, young drug head, this is great. So we go in this room, and this guy, he's kind of sketchy. He's been taking, you know, methadone, heroin. He's all really strung out, and he's the guy who's going to be selling to us, and he's kind of freaking us out a little bit. And you know, we wanted to make a deal quick and get out of there, but he didn't know what was going on. He was out of it, and slowly he begins to pick up this chainsaw. And chainsaw and a crazy drug head is not really a good idea if you don't know. They just don't mix. And he starts picking up this chainsaw, and he puts it down. And we're like, "So we're gonna make a deal?" And he starts looking at us funny, looks back and forth, and me, my friend Robbie, and there's another friend with me named Eric. We start looking at each other like, you know, let's get this going. He picks up this chainsaw. He chainsaws the table, chainsaws the wall. Then he puts down the chainsaw. And he says, "What are you guys looking at me?" I'm like, uh-oh, this is not a good place to be. This is not a good place to be. So he looks at me, he looks at my friend Eric, and then he punches my friend Eric right in the face. Out of nowhere. It was just out of the blue. He didn't do anything, but obviously he was, you know, not in his right mind. And we're like, we didn't do anything. We just were just so shocked that this happened. Usually we'd probably fight or whatever, you know, throw down. But we were just in such disarray that this had happened to us. We were like, what do we do? He then proceeds to pick up the chainsaw and come at my friend Eric. Eric's running out the door. I begin to run out the door. Robbie follows me. We get in his car. We get in his car. He's trying to start it. And, you know, it doesn't start at first, and we're like, oh no. He gets it started, and then this kid named Derek, he jumps on the hood of the car with his chainsaw. It tries to chainsaw us right through the roof of the moonroof. We pull off. He falls off. Surprised he didn't cut himself, but yeah. So that was the Ranger Inn. It wasn't a very good place. Anyways, the service part of this. It was about 10 years down the road, I decided to take a job working as a buffet attendant, a real prestigious job. And I was working with a friend, and you know, I hadn't quite moved out of my phase of youth and drug abuse and all that stuff. And he said, "Hey, this other buffet attendant says, I know where I can buy some good stuff." And I was like, "Okay, sounds good." And he started telling me, I was like, "I don't know, it's some hotel." I was in there the other day, and there's this chainsaw mark up the wall. And I was like, "You gotta be kidding me." He's like, "Yeah, why?" I was like, "Is it called the Ranger?" He said, "Oh yeah."